Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kayla and I like to talk about books. So today I want to talk about some of the books I'm really excited to read in 2022.
Getting depressed and all that. It happens to me every year.
Before I get started, let me just say this is actually my second time filming this. Something happened when I filmed it first yesterday and the footage got corrupted. So I literally went to go edit it and I was like, oh, this is great. This footage is all corrupted. Who knows why? No reason. No particular reason. But now I get to film it today and there is so much going on. There's a giant truck outside. It's really overcast, so the lighting is terrible and there's people doing lawn work. But I'm gonna work with what I've got and I just kind of want to film it anyway. Let's just get into it and talk about some of the books. Some of these are going to be released in 2022 and others are books that I'm just excited to read this year. So some of them are going to be like really old books, some are going to be new books. But the first book that I'm really excited to read next year, oh my gosh, that's only in a couple days. The first book I'm really excited to read next year is Cujo by Stephen King. And this is something I talked about in my Stephen King books I haven't read yet but want to video. So I won't go super in depth into it except that I saw the movie a long time ago. I think it was like 8 years old. I don't remember it really well, but I do remember the basic premise and I just love the idea that it kind of plays around with the idea of man, like dog is man's best friend, and in this the dog is obviously like the thing to fear. So I really like how he plays around with that idea and I'm just really excited to read this book. Obviously it is one of his all-time classics. I think a lot of people consider it a really good read. I also remember that in, I think it was in On Writing, he talks about how he wrote Cujo when he was like really deep into his addiction and his alcoholism, and basically he doesn't remember writing it, which is a real shame because it's such a well-known, well-loved book. But I'm really excited to read that in the next year. Also by Stephen King, I really want to read The Colorado Kid, and that is just another one of the hard case crime books. I've read the other hard case crime books and to be honest, they're some of my favorite books by Stephen King. So that's probably towards the top of my 2022 to be read list, especially as far as like specifically Stephen King books go. But there are so many books I want to read like so quickly, so we'll see where it falls on the actual timeline, but it's definitely up there. The next book that I'm really excited to read in 2022 is called The Paris Apartment. This is by Lucy Foley, and I read 2 books by her last year. It was my first time reading her when I read The Guest List, which I know everybody raved about, and I thought it was good, but then after that I actually read The Hunting Party, and I thought that that was honestly a lot better. It just felt a little bit more focused in the mystery and just a little bit more focused in the story. So I think that I preferred that a little bit. The Guest List felt a little bit more scattered, for better or worse. I know a lot of people liked it better, but personally, I really liked The Hunting Party. What both of those books definitely had in common was their setting. So both of those stories were set in really remote places, beautiful places, but really remote kind of harsh places. One of them is set in rural Scotland. The other one is set on like an island off the coast of Ireland. And basically both of those are obviously really isolated, harsh areas. And I think that the highlight of both those stories was kind of like the setting. So I'm really curious to see what she does with a book that is not set in such an isolated environment. Obviously, I'm assuming The Paris Apartment is set primarily in Paris, so it'll be really curious to see what this author does with a different type of setting and how she can carry that with her story. So I'm very excited to see how that turns out. I think that comes out in January or February. I can't fully remember, so I'm not totally sure, but I'll definitely be reading it and reviewing it, like probably right when it comes out, because I'm pretty excited about that one. The next book that I'm really excited to read in 2022 is Foundation by Isaac Asimov, and I know that Apple TV released a series on this and I watched the first 2 episodes I think, and I thought it was really good, but then I was like, I should read the book because it just kind of felt like something that I would probably like the book better of. And I was like, before I go any further, like, I should read the book. And I was actually given it as a gift for Christmas, so it's a really beautiful copy. I'm definitely excited to read that. I think it's like a copy of the whole trilogy, so kind of excited to see what that's about. The next book that I'm really excited to read in 2022 is The Great Hunt, which is the second Wheel of Time book by Robert Jordan. And I did read the first Wheel of Time book, I think it was like fully a year ago now, maybe even a little bit more. I read it like about a year-ish ago because I think it was around the last holiday season, and I liked it. I remember I really liked it at first, and the timing of it felt like a little bit weird about 3/4 of the way through, but it was fine. It just didn't like wow me as a lot of people kind of talk about it with such high praise, and it didn't wow me as much as I expected it to, I guess. But I really do want to know a little bit more about like the Aes Sedai, and basically when I posted my review of it, a lot of people told me to read the second book. Like, you can't just rely on the first book to kind of get a taste for the series. So I'm gonna read the second book because it is a 13-book series, so I kind of feel like the first book is definitely like still finding its footing, and that's such a long series that, yeah, it feels like you can't really judge it by just the first one. So I am gonna read the second book. We'll see if I like it or not. I'm still excited to read it. I already got it from thrift books, honestly, so that's gonna be one of the sooner reads that I have. I might even start it in January, to be honest, but I'm definitely really excited. I just kind of want to know what the rest of the series is about, and if I want to continue reading the rest of the series. I'll still probably do it pretty slowly because I feel like it's such a massive commitment, but yeah, I'm excited to read the second book, The Great Hunt. I know Amazon came out with a series. I'm not going to be watching that yet. I'm probably gonna wait. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I did like the first book. I just wasn't blown away by it. So I'm kind of excited to see if I get to find out some more of the information that I want to find out from the second book. The next book that actually comes out in 2022 that I'm excited to read in 2022 is called Good Rich People by Eliza Jane Brazier. I've never read anything by this author before, so I might be saying her name wrong, but I'm definitely intrigued by the premise of this book, which is like this wealthy family, I guess, who has tenants in a building that they own or something, and they like play these twisted games apparently with the tenants. I don't totally know what that means, but it sounds just creepy, and it sounds like it may be the type of book that is kind of creepy, kind of thriller, and also has maybe a little bit of social commentary mixed in, a la the movie Get Out or a lot of other really great thrillers. I think some of the best scary, creepy stories have like very interesting social commentary mixed in. I remember I Hold a Wolf by the Ears by Laura Vandenberg. Very similar. A lot of those stories seem to have like a little bit of commentary on current social, and I don't know. I really liked those, and I think that this may be something that's kind of similar to that, which I'll definitely really enjoy, obviously given the state of what the wealth divide looks like in our country. I live in the US right now, and I mean, I guess globally, but just especially here. It's definitely an interesting topic to cover, especially in the form of like a thriller, horror, creepy kind of read. So definitely excited for that. Okay, I think the last book that I have on this list that I'm really excited to read in the new year that also does come out in 2022 is called Fiona. Whoa, I don't even know what that sound was. Okay, the next book that I'm really excited to read in the new year is called Fiona and Jane by John Chen Ho. It's either Jean Chen Ho or John Chen Ho. I'm actually not totally sure if it's Jean or John. I've never read anything by this author. I think she's kind of a new novelist, and I'm very excited to read this book in particular because the focus of it is a long-standing female friendship, and essentially it just follows this friendship through the years, all their ups and downs, and that just sounds like something that really interests me. I definitely prefer books like that that focus more on friendship as opposed to like romantic partners or romantic, I don't know. I'm not as into like romance focused books, but I think friendship focused books are definitely very interesting to read, and I like reading them a lot, especially like a female friendship is very interesting, a long-standing one at that. I'd be curious to know what like the core conflict and climax end up being in a story like that. I'm hoping it doesn't make me cry, but it probably will. I believe it might even come out in like January or February. I think it actually comes out pretty soon, so maybe I should try and find it and review it. But definitely high up on my list as far as books that are actually coming out in 2022. I know there's a lot of like good and highly anticipated books coming out this year, but if you look at all of them, you'll just get so caught up in it. So I feel like you're just like reading all of the new releases lists and you're like, these all sound kind of cool. But the reality is like, what am I actually probably gonna read and what am I actually probably gonna be interested in? So for me, I just try to whittle it down to like very realistic. Also, I do want to read some books that are not new releases at all, so you have to make room for it all. But anyway, that's everything I'm super excited to read in 2022. We'll see. There's definitely going to be more on that list, obviously, as time goes on, but that's just what kind of is in my head right now. Let me know if you're excited for any of these books or for the older releases, if you've read any of them and what you thought of them. And also if you're excited for any 2022 releases. I know there is a new Stephen King release, but it's for a series I like haven't read, so I don't know if that I'm gonna read that, to be honest. But yeah, let me know below your thoughts. And that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you, like, subscribe, and I will see you later.
Getting depressed and all that happens to me every year.